Hello, Leah Parsons coming in from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia for my weekly video here on YouTube and holding myself accountable to showing up. Even if it's not on the Monday, I'm still showing up. And I think it's really important that we hold ourselves accountable to things that we say we're going to do for ourselves. Often we can hold ourselves accountable for other people, uh, and we don't do the same for ourselves. But today's topic isn't about accountability, it's actually about our nervous system. And I feel like our nervous system gets overlooked a lot when we have a lot of people, most people have had trauma in their life. Let's say everyone has a heightened nervous system at some point in their life and they don't realize it, or they don't know what's happening in their body because they're so caught up in their mind that they're not tuning in. And I know that was me for a long time too. So we're not often taught that our nervous system is the key to moving through pain, moving through trauma, moving through emotions. Our nervous system is what holds everything. So if we can catch, and I think most people also have different levels of some form of PTSD. Um, it could be mild, it could be major, it could be many things, but I think we're all kind of just sitting at the cusp of like stress, just in life in general, and especially during these last year and a half or so during these COVID times. But there's a lot of like sitting at the level of the pot kind of boiling, stress, and it might take one more thing to kind of push it over so that the whole system is just so flared up that we can't function anymore, because it just was that one more thing that put us over the edge, over the what we're capable of holding on to, especially if we're not paying attention to our nervous system, paying attention to how we feel when we're saying yes and our body's saying no, when we're doing things that our body's saying not that again, whether it's too much work, doing too much for others, pushing your body physically, uh, not speaking your truth, allowing stress to kind of build. And all of those things are kind of carried in our nervous system. And I know for me, like years ago when I was living in New York, I wasn't even aware of it. Um, but when I was part of a home invasion, so I was living in an apartment building temporarily with a bunch of other girls renting out rooms. There's a few of us there. I think there was four of us, maybe. Anyway, we're renting out rooms until we could find our own place to stay. And it was on the 17th floor. 17 is a big number for me. It's on the 17th floor. And as I was going to leave, two roommates were home at the time. One was sick and the other one was in the other room. As I was going to leave the apartment for the night, I unlocked the door and then the phone rang. So I didn't have it in my hand back then. This was the early 90s. The phone rang, so I didn't lock the door again, and I went to get the phone. And that's when two males came in. One had a gun and the other one had his hood kind of all like closed up, so you could only see his eyes. So imagine the fear. First is that your whole body kind of freezes, the fear, and then thinking that this isn't real. So looking to my friend to see if this is some joke, that she knows these people and that maybe she's going to start laughing, like just thinking that it must be something like that. Nope, that wasn't the case. And then suddenly I had a gun at my temple. And so luckily we weren't harmed, we were robbed, we were tied up. But you can imagine my whole system. I saw my life flash before my eyes. I could imagine me kind of laying there and slowly dying, because we were all laying on our stomachs and not knowing, couldn't see what was happening, what was going to happen next. And imagining somebody telling my parents that I died. So all of these things were like flashes going through my mind. I could see my childhood. I could see me running in the field and playing outside, and just snippets that was just kind of flashing before me and not knowing what was going to happen. So afterwards, I was hyper sensitive, didn't know what to do with that. Like, didn't even think that I needed to go speak to somebody or that this need to be. So I was walking around for a long time just in a heightened state of awareness. So my nervous system was just on all the time. If things, and of course, living in New York, if things went by me too fast, I would jump. And that happened frequently. When things became amplified, like sounds, I worked in a club, so of course the music's pounding, there's a lot of activity. So I don't even know how long that went on, but I had no idea that I had PTSD. I had no idea what was happening. I knew I felt on edge, but I didn't really tune into actually where that started, and I had no idea how to even work with my nervous system. So one of the reasons I do these types of videos is to help other people that maybe aren't aware. So of course, many years later, 2 degrees later in psychology, I have learned a lot. But what I've learned the most is that I can work with my own nervous system. And that didn't happen until many, many years after my daughter died. That I started, like, all of a sudden I was flared up. And of course, I'm like most people, we have multiple traumas that can flare up our nervous system and we're not aware of it. We don't know all of a sudden why we're edgy, agitated, getting snappy with our kids, snappy with our coworkers, that we feel on edge, right? And we're like, I don't even know why I feel like this. I don't know why I feel so inside. But if we don't go inside to inquire, to listen to our own bodies, if we don't do that, we're going to just act automatically. And so we got to drop out of our head and into our bodies. So I started doing this with images and flashes of horrible things I saw my child go through, and I watched my child die. I found her. I found her in our home, and I had to go in the ambulance with her, take her to the hospital, and them telling me she's not going to make it, and just watch her over a few days. So a lot of images would come in for me. And I'm okay talking about it now. It's still, of course, even saying it, I can see the images as I say it, because that's how our brain processes, right? I just say it out loud and I can see the images. But it's not that it doesn't bother me anymore. And it's not that it doesn't hurt me anymore, because I could go to those painful places in 0.3 seconds easily. However, I learned to kind of tune in and go, oh, what's happening in my body here? Oh, a siren's going by. Oh, the siren went by and I got this flash in my mind. But Leah, you're safe. You're safe. And this isn't what's happening right now. What's happening right now is you're sitting in your vehicle, whether I pulled over or I'm driving, and yes, you're seeing this image. And it's very disturbing because it's taking you down that road. It's taking you from that to then the pain, and then we go right down into the spiral. And then all of a sudden I would find myself in, it shouldn't have been like this. I should have my daughter. This isn't fair. This is so painful. Right? So instead I would look at that and go, okay, let's just breathe here. Hand on my heart. Anyone who works with me knows this is a go-to. I teach it, first thing I teach in one of my programs. Hand on my heart. Leah, I got you. You're safe. Right here. I know that's hurtful, but I'm here for you. Let's breathe. And then my nervous system will start to slowly come down. And then I'll replace that images that are coming through. So I will replace it with something more pleasant, or maybe my child when she was little running on the beach. And that could take me to sadness, or it could take me to, right, what can I do from where I am? Because I can't do anything about what happened. That experience happened to me and my body is holding it. Love and compassion for that, right? Lots of love and compassion for the pain and the suffering. And I love you and I'm here for you. We have to love ourselves through our pain. We can't say, oh my gosh, not this again, or oh, I don't want to feel this, or oh, this, why is this happening to me? Right? If we go to those places, we're going to wind up the nervous system even more. And anyone that has a lot of trauma knows the nervous system can get fired up so fast. So my invitation to you today is to maybe not work with the bigger triggers, even though things are going to show up. You don't have to search. I always say this in my programs too. You don't have to chase down an emotion. You don't have to chase down a memory. You don't have to follow those thoughts into the darkness. Life is going to show up and give you what you need to work with. It will just show up in your day. And when you feel triggered by someone's response to you or what somebody says to you, ask yourself, what's that about? What's happening in my body here? And is that really about what they're doing? Or is that just my conditioning, my programming? This is familiar feeling to me. This is it. I know this feeling. And let me breathe with it. Let me show up for it. Let me get curious and say, where can I go from here that is loving and kind? So that's my invitation for you today. I hope you try that the next time. Maybe it'll happen today that somebody cuts you off in traffic. Maybe somebody says something rude to you. See what you can do with that. It's not easy, but it is easy too. And it's definitely worth it. So the process isn't really that difficult. It's just learning to navigate it in the moments. And it will shift your life. It will shift how you see things, but we have to first awareness and then practicing something different. And then the something different stacks on. And then all of a sudden, you see your life is changing. And that's what I want for everybody that is feeling kind of squeezed, that's feeling that their nervous system is lighting up all the time. That we show ourselves some love and compassion for our own beautiful bodies and the ability of our nervous system to navigate these things. Okay, have a good day. And if you're not having a good day, remember that all of those emotions are so valuable.